Well, I received the B-25 today, and 20 days of shipping made it here in perfect condition. Everything's packed really nice. The model is beyond my expectations. Unlike the Mustang, where I had to add hinges, the 25 comes with actual hinges in it for the elevator, rudder, ailerons, flaps. They did a really nice job. I ended up going to Lowe's, well, not Lowe's, but Home Depot for my paint matching, and they actually did a really great job there. The only difference is I had to get a quart instead of the smaller size, which the Banana Hobbies video a gentleman talks about, which he does a really good explanation of this aircraft. You can go to bananahobbies.com and look up the B-25 in his build video. A few things that he didn't point out that I noticed was one, before you put these servo horns for your rudder on, you can what you need to do is, these horns go on the inside, put these servo linkages on before you put the tail on, the verticals on. Once you put the vertical on, that it's not going to go on the right way, because that's going to throw out and want to twist, so you'll want to do that. Another thing I noticed is I started the screws doing this. If you take the decal and just trim it, then put the plate on, you can actually fold your decal back over and keep that decal look, instead of destroying it by just screwing down on top of it. Another thing I did to help myself, make things a little bit easier, the packages are very well marked. Each package is marked with the screw size. I don't know if you can see that. There's not a lot of light in here. But they give you extra screws. The rear takes 7 by 15 and 7 by 18. But if you start out with the extra elevator screws, which are 7 by 20 and 7 by 22, you can actually get a good bite, get this going in, servo horn going in, and get it set. I did not glue mine. They recommend putting some glue on the back of it. They aren't coming out. The wiring went together. I tested each servo individually, worked fine, centered them up, and the model is going together great. When I'm done, I'll paint all these white surfaces and black surfaces with the servo, also these covers, and I'll put a piece of tape over this and take that paint I got and cover all that up. There are some gaps here in the fuselage. I'll fill that and I'll get this color matched, and I'm going to follow the guy on Banana Hobbies video's advice and make this a magnetic hatch. So I'll take this down, get this paint matched, and we'll fill in these little seams. But I'll keep building, and any other tips I come up with, I'll add to this video and post later. But like I said, she's a sweetheart, nice and big. You can see on this side where I put the plate on before I realized I could cut it. So I'm gonna remove this plate and cut this decal. Put the plate back on and see if I can save it. Beautiful decals on it. Hate to waste them. Well, a little note on the tail. I got this sanded. Everything went together good there. Was able to get my decals patched back on. Going to install these guns, and there's no way this is going to work without enlarging that hole enough to get your hand in. Even with that, trying to pop the gun on the turret, a little plastic piece here pops off, but it looks like just a little bit of glue. Slide that back in and mount it, but nothing in the instructions shows how to install these. I figured I'd show you my experience. Like I said, I went to snap the gun in and the mount popped off, so I'll put a little epoxy here, slide it back in, mount it up, and we'll go from there. But yeah, unless you got the hands of a 5-year-old, you're gonna have to cut a slot. The tail section, as you see on this outer edge, that's gonna glue all around here. So you're not gonna really be cutting into any support. And you don't have to cut a big, huge hole. It's just like I said, enough hole to get your hand into. So you can get to these guns on the side and get those put in. Oh, one thing I should mention as before you put this tail section together is to either take a servo tester and a little 4-cell battery pack, put them together, test each servo. The other thing you can do, bind up a radio transmitter, hook them up individually or in pairs. Make sure you have good batteries or they'll glitch like crazy. Hook this up, bind it, test all your servos. So once it's together, you're gonna have a bugger of a time changing them out. Currently, I've got this partially ready to go in. The fuselage is sitting here. I've got the guns in. I've got the glue on there. Every now and then I take a little screwdriver, touch the base on there, make sure it's adhering real well. I put in the upper light. That was just feeding the wire down, slides in from the top. It's such a tight, snug fit on this one at least that I didn't use any glue. The other thing is on the horizontal and vertical. I didn't see any need to use glue here. The bolts hold it nice and tight with the tongue and groove fit, and the back fits nice. The vertical stabs, you bolt them on. I did not glue those. There's no movement to them. Once again, good fit, beautiful finish. So far, no real problems. I'll take and get this all glued up, put together, set it up for the night, and continue on it in the morning. Okay, got the fuselage together. Came out really nice. Sanded it. Used typical recommended things. Sanding block. Move the camera a little more. One of these little blue sanding blocks. Cut off a piece to get into the edges. Tried that. Tried sandpaper. These other sanding blocks. It takes forever. Best thing I found is this little brass wheel on a low-speed Dremel. And if you just take your time, I've got it set to a low speed. You can get on here and just take your time and work it. Just do a circular pattern. I'm going to do it real lightly. And it takes it right down without taking big chunks out of it, making a bunch of low and high spots. But what took me 10 minutes to do with sandpaper it's taken me only a minute or two to do with this little brass wheel on this little Dremel. So I'm going to use it. This got all done. This came mainly white, so I just had to scuff it up. But this is the trick for getting rid of this paint. It seems to chip off in other parts real easy, but in this bay area where you're gluing the wing, it is a pain in the butt. And I had been sanding for over a half hour just for that part. So play with this. Like I said, just use light pressure, keep a circular motion so you don't stay in one place, dig a hole, and use it on low speed. And that little brass brush just pulls it right off for you.